What is dangerously low blood sugar? If you take insulin or any diabetic medication, you may be at risk of developing what's known as hypoglycemia or low blood sugars. Hypoglycemia can lead to some serious complications. So it's really important to know what to do if it happens to you or someone very close to you. In other words, how do you correct low blood sugars? What are the biggest common mistakes diabetics make? And do these mistakes have consequences? So this episode is really jam-packed. I will cover what exactly are low blood sugar readings and define that low blood sugar range. The signs, the symptoms of having low blood sugars. In other words, how does one feel when our blood sugars are incredibly low? The best part, and you'll only find here on The Resilient Diabetic, is my top secret weapon. What I personally use to raise blood sugars. Not only is it cheap, not only is it easy, not only is it super simple, but it works immediately. What is it? Stay tuned. But before we begin, let me welcome all the resilient diabetics out there. This is where we turn ordinary, struggling diabetics into extraordinarily well-controlled diabetics. If you don't know who I am and you're new to the channel, my name is Jay Sampat, and I am an insulin-dependent diabetic diagnosed a little over 5 years ago. So not only am I diabetic like you, we'll be walking the walk and talking the talk together, but I also do have a Bachelor of Science degree in Nutrition Dietetics that comes in really handy in discussing all the intricacies of being a diabetic. If you like what you see here today and you want to learn more, I highly suggest you hit the subscribe button, that like button, and the notification icon, which is the gray bell. That is so you don't miss a second of any of the new upcoming episodes that are both inspiring and life-changing. In my case, I personally have more issues going hypo than I do with hyperglycemia, which is high blood sugars, mainly because I'm physically active all day, and I do carry quite a bit more muscle than your average person. And as you've learned in previous episodes, muscle tissue that is sensitive can soak up a lot of glucose and rapidly. And at times, it can catch me off guard. And it does sneak up on me when I'm not vigilant. What are low blood sugars objectively? Blood sugar levels below 70 are considered low and can harm you. Blood sugars below 54 milligrams a deciliter is cause for immediate action. And I can't honestly tell you how many times I've hit that. Below 80 or in that low range, I already start to notice personality changes. You can put me in a comedy club with the funniest comedian with the best jokes, and if my blood sugars are low, I'm not going to find much humor in the day. The lower the numbers, the more serious the consequences of having low blood sugars. That could lead to seizures and a loss of consciousness. Symptoms can come on rapidly, and they vary from person to person. So you are at risk of low blood sugars if you're diabetic and you're taking any of the following diabetic medications. First of all, insulin. Both the long, the basal, and the short-acting, and it gets even more complicated if multiple insulins are used. For me, that includes Insulin R and Lantus. Oral medications such as metformin, and when they're added in with insulin, can make things very complicated too. How can you tell when your blood sugars are getting low? What are the symptoms? Well, you get weakness or feeling tired. You start to shake, me. Start to sweat, break out in a cold sweat, that's me. Headaches, hunger. You feel uneasy, nervous, anxious, that's me. Feeling cranky, guess what? That's me too. Trouble thinking clearly, double or blurry vision, fast or pounding heartbeat. Sometimes your blood sugars may be extremely low and you don't have any symptoms. And if it gets too low, you may end up fainting, having a seizure, or going into a coma. You always need to follow the diabetic management plan that you and your doctor have developed. If you're taking new medications, changing your eating or medication schedules, or adding in exercise, you have to talk to your doctor about these changes and how they may affect your diabetes management and your risk for low blood sugars. How do you resolve low blood sugars? This is a combination of art and science. Your goal actually is twofold. Nobody seems to get the second part of the equation, which to me is the most important. The glucose management, the stability. Your first goal obviously is to raise blood sugars back into the 70 plus range. The second part of the equation is to keep it there. But what we do not want to do, and here's the art, is to overshoot what is necessary, then create a roller coaster of events. How do we resolve an issue? We have to first eat or drink a very fast-acting carb, and that should be taken right away. Your best bet is to consume 15 grams of carbohydrates. The most common suggested forms that are given include these: half a cup or 4 ounces of orange, grape, apple, or pineapple juice, half a cup or 4 ounces of regular soda, a tablespoon of sugar dissolved in water, a tablespoon of honey or maple syrup, 5 or 6 hard candies such as jelly beans or gumdrops, 2 tablespoons of raisins will work, or even half a cup of applesauce. I personally opt for 3 to 4 glucose tablets or a tube of glucose gel. Everyone who is diabetic needs to always carry these glucose tablets with them. And let me show you what I have. These are the small tubes. I carry one with me in my car, and I have a second one that I have in my sweatpants when I go to the gym. So this is always with me regardless. The glucose tablets, I carry these. I have one in my gym bag. I also have one by my bedside, one down here in my office, and one in my office at work. And what is my secret weapon? You've been waiting for. All right, this is it. It's pure dextrose. What is dextrose? Dextrose is glucose. This is made by Now Real Foods, and it is $5.49 per bag, and there are 302 servings in that bag, versus one of these bottles, which could range anywhere from $4 to $7. And I'm seeing quite a few of these new, what's called fast-acting glucose tabs on Amazon for $20. You're watching The Resilient Diabetic. I would never let you get ripped off. Glucose is dextrose, dextrose is glucose. It's all fast-acting. There is no difference. You don't need to pay up for anything like that. What you do is you just mix a tablespoon with small amounts of water. It will dissolve rapidly and it works immediately. I personally do not like using any sugar other than straight glucose because that is exactly what the body wants. All the examples that we gave are fine, but the examples such as the soda and even the applesauce contain high fructose corn syrup. I will, however, use some fruit when my glucose levels are really, really bad. Bananas are my fruit of choice, and I do have at home a bag of frozen berries. And in that bag, it contains blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and cherries. Now, those whole fruits contain high amounts of vitamins and minerals and other key nutrients, such as antioxidants, which I can use. Once you've taken your first serving, your next step is to wait around 15 minutes. Test, and then make your small adjustments from there. If you're having frequent and consistent bouts of hypoglycemia, be sure to talk with your doctor, or better yet, ask to see an endocrinologist. That is especially true if your diabetes has gotten really difficult to manage and the treatments just aren't working. The solution may be as simple as changing how much or the kinds of diabetic medications you take. However, never make any changes to your medication regime without your doctor's approval. If you found this episode helpful, you've got to hit that subscribe button for me. In the comment section below, I'm going to ask all the diabetics out there, how do you personally raise your blood sugars? The foods and the drinks you use, love to know that. As for the video I'll recommend, what's next? How does stress affect diabetes? I'll place that in the box right there. You just got to click it and it'll take you straight to it. I discuss how both physical and mental stress, being sick, being ill, being injured affects blood sugars. Have a great and productive day, and we'll see you with another episode always released weekly. Bye for now.